Just the walk, let alone the fight part, it takes a lot of mental strength. It takes a lot of guts, a lot of heart. You know, mental strength, it's a huge thing in boxing.
It's a big thing in life, even outside of boxing, right? In business and in all, I think, great endeavors. Do you think it's something that you can, from what you've seen in the gym, something you can teach or train?
I think you can.
Chris Eubank Jr. isn't holding back when discussing what it truly takes to step into the ring, especially ahead of his high-stakes showdown with Conor Benn. According to him, success isn't just about physical preparation, it's about mental resilience. Eubank Jr. makes it clear that even the walk to the ring requires immense mental strength, courage, and composure. You can have all the skills in the world, but if your mind isn't right, you're finished, he asserts, emphasizing how crucial mental toughness is, not just in boxing, but in life. This isn't just something he's picked up in training. It's a life lesson that he believes applies far beyond the sport. But here's where things get even more intriguing. Eubank Jr. doesn't believe mental toughness is something you're simply born with. It can be taught, he claims, hinting at the idea that resilience and fortitude can be developed, potentially shifting the way fighters approach the game. Could he be right? Is mental toughness the ultimate key to victory in this explosive battle?
The sausage, he's still got a massive head.
That to me, I just want to get this guy out of boxing. I want to beat him so badly that he doesn't want to ever fight again.
I mean, you bang in the middle, mate, and I'll nip it in the bud right here, right now. You know, I don't think you can come walk over to me and pull up on me and think I ain't going to do nothing about it.
The tension between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. has reached its boiling point. This isn't just a rivalry. It's a battle on the verge of explosion. Benn isn't holding back, firing verbal shots with the kind of intensity that only comes from deep-rooted animosity. He's not just confident. He's determined to prove that Eubank Jr. is nothing more than a stepping stone in his journey to the top. But here's where it gets even more compelling. Eubank Jr. doesn't flinch. Standing firm with the composure of a seasoned veteran, he makes it clear he's been here before. The tension is undeniable. The disrespect between them is palpable, and neither man is willing to back down. Benn brings youth, hunger, and relentless aggression. Eubank Jr. counters with experience, power, and an ability to thrive under pressure. When the bell rings, all the talk ends. One will emerge victorious, while the other is left wondering what went wrong. The only question left: who will have their hand raised when the dust settles?
What? Like what, you're lucky you're fighting tomorrow, I'll fuck you up right now.
Yeah. You see, this guy comes in when I'm cutting weight.
Oh, comes in when he comes, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow after the fight.
I'll
see you tomorrow after the fight.
Yeah, you get in that ring.
Yeah, what? Get in that ring. I'll get in that ring and fucking give it to you.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course, mate.
We'll see.
You're fucking lucky you're fighting tomorrow.
You'll see.
You're lucky, mate.
We'll see.
Get your hand off me.
No, it's okay, let him come close, man. I like this. I like this energy.
The clash between Ben Shalom and Eddie Hearn isn't just a war of words. It's a battle of ideologies, with both standing their ground. Shalom makes his stance clear, emphasizing that legacy and victory should always take precedence over financial gain. He even takes it a step further, bringing up the idea of charity, subtly challenging the money-driven culture that dominates modern boxing. But Eddie Hearn isn't one to let a statement like that go unchallenged. He fires back with a sharp rebuttal, dismissing the notion that Conor Benn could be earning anywhere near as much as Chris Eubank Jr., and he doesn't just disagree. He calls the claim outright ridiculous, even suggesting that if Eubank Jr. is earning anything close to what's being implied, he should have his lawyers looking into at this point. The fight isn't just about what happens in the ring. It's about power, influence, and who truly calls the shots in the world of boxing. With tensions rising both inside and outside the ropes, the stakes have never been higher.
To be honest with you, like at the end of the day, the reality is winning is worth a lot more than 100 grand. I think we do something for charity, whatever, I think it would be nice.
Eddie, he said that he feels that he's getting paid, if not more than Conor Benn, around the same. What do you make on that?
Who?
That was
Ben Shalom.
First of all,
he's making double-digit millions for this fight. If
first
so,
of all,
Chris Eubank needs to sue him.
Harlem Eubank isn't just analyzing the situation. He's shedding light on a harsh reality behind the build-up to this fight. While Conor Benn remains in the mix, Harlem emphasizes that there are still final obstacles to clear before everything is set in stone. But here's where things take an interesting turn. He makes a bold claim that Chris Eubank Jr. is single-handedly carrying the promotional weight of this showdown. Harlem doesn't mince words, pointing out that Eubank Jr. isn't just participating. He's dominating every press moment, controlling the narrative, and making himself the undeniable focal point. Meanwhile, Ben appears to be taking a step back, allowing Eubank Jr. to dictate the energy surrounding the fight. The real question is, does this one-sided promotion reveal a deeper issue? Is Ben gearing up to make a statement on fight night? Or is he already losing the battle for the spotlight? One thing is for sure, whether Ben steps up or not, all eyes are locked on Eubank Jr. as the countdown to the clash continues.
He could potentially be there, yeah. I don't think it would take too much for him to be there. It's just a few conversations and things to be worked out in between, I'm sure. But yeah, it's obviously a fight that, Chris Eubank Jr. is carrying the promotion alone, at the moment. So
why do you say that?
Because he is the one that's engaged the public.
On the flip side, Harlem Eubank isn't holding back when assessing the upcoming showdown. In his eyes, this fight isn't just a tough challenge for Conor Benn, it's a complete mismatch. He firmly believes Chris Eubank Jr. operates on a different level, boasting superior skill, power, and experience that give him a clear edge. While Ben's decision to move up in weight might be seen as a bold move, Harlem sees it as a risky gamble. The reality is that Eubank Jr. has already been battle-tested against elite-level opposition, while Ben has yet to face that kind of challenge. Harlem acknowledges that size may factor into the fight, but the real gap lies in experience and composure under pressure, an area where Eubank Jr. holds a clear advantage. From Harlem's perspective, this was never a truly even contest. The disparity in experience, competition level, and overall pedigree makes it an uphill battle for Ben. Once the bell rings, Harlem predicts that gap will become glaringly obvious, leaving Ben struggling to keep up in what could turn out to be a far less competitive fight than many expect.
Itself is a mismatch, the build-up has been a mismatch, and
is that because Chris is too big, do you think?
I don't think it's necessarily it's obviously the size at a different weight class. In boxing there's different weight classes, and you fight your weight. And Chris is, as well as being bigger, has fought at a much, much higher level.
On the other side, Carl Frampton didn't hold back during his appearance on the Talk Sport Boxing podcast, voicing major concerns about whether Chris Eubank Jr. can actually make the agreed weight limit for his upcoming fight. Frampton highlighted that dehydration will be a major struggle for Eubank, especially with the strict 10-pound rehydration limit in place. In fact, Frampton speculated that while Eubank may accept the terms, there's a real chance he could end up missing the mark altogether, potentially weighing in 15 to 16 pounds over the limit and taking the financial hit instead. Reflecting on Eubank's previous bout against Liam Smith, Frampton pointed out how visibly drained and depleted he looked, reinforcing just how difficult cutting weight has become for him. But the biggest issue, according to Frampton, is the rehydration clause itself, something he believes strongly favors Conor Benn. By limiting how much Eubank can regain after the weigh-in, the clause could severely impact his performance and recovery, giving Ben a serious advantage. Frampton insists this aspect of the fight isn't being talked about enough, but it could end up being the deciding factor in the ring.
But it's quite difficult sometimes, especially if you're dry like Chris Eubank. He will struggle to stay within that 10-pound limit. I have a feeling he won't do it. I have a feeling he'll agree to it, he'll pay a fine, and maybe weigh in 15 or 16 pounds over.
Who did he fight recently and he looked like he was completely dead at the weight?
His last fight.
Was it Liam Smith, the first one?
Yeah.
He looked he looked awful.
Brutal. That's how hard it is to make. That's why I think it's kind of the rehydration clause puts things slightly more into Conor Benn's favour, which is unfair.
Joe Gallagher didn't mince words when breaking down Chris Eubank Jr.'s relentless pursuit of independence, offering a deeper perspective on the internal struggle behind his desire to step out from his father's shadow. Eubank Jr. has long spoken about forging his own path, determined to build a name that stands apart from his father's legendary legacy. He's made it clear he refuses to be confined by expectations or follow in anyone's footsteps. However, Gallagher points to a subtle contradiction in this narrative. Despite Eubank Jr.'s outward confidence and insistence on autonomy, there's an undeniable need for validation, especially from the very man whose influence he claims to reject. No matter how much he distances himself, a part of him likely longs for his father's recognition, to have him ringside, witnessing his triumphs firsthand. This internal tug-of-war raises a crucial question. Can Eubank Jr. truly reach the pinnacle of the sport on his own terms? Or will the weight of his father's legacy continue to follow him? As fight night approaches, it's becoming clear, this battle isn't just about boxing. It's about identity, self-acceptance, and proving, once and for all, who Chris Eubank Jr. really is.
But Eubank Jr. is his own man, and that's what he's always tried to make out. This is me, this is my career, and this is how I do things. Dad, that was your era, that was your time, blah, 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 let me do this. But I'm sure he'd love to have him sat ringside watching him.
Shane McGuigan isn't afraid to highlight the strategic benefits of carrying extra weight during training, arguing that Chris Eubank Jr. has mastered this approach to push his body further and build additional strength. In contrast, Conor Benn, already close to his fight weight, has prioritized fine-tuning his conditioning, a method that, on the surface, seems more efficient for peak performance. However, McGuigan remains skeptical. While Benn's approach is calculated, the reality is that in boxing, size often plays a decisive role. In this particular matchup, the weight advantage could be the ultimate game changer. Beyond weight, McGuigan also points to another key factor: age. Despite Benn's elite-level conditioning, the experience gap between the two fighters could prove pivotal, especially in the later rounds when endurance, composure, and recovery come into play. At that stage, the older, battle-tested Eubank Jr. might find his years in the ring turning into his biggest asset, giving him the edge when it matters most.
Enjoyed every moment in this career so far.
I know you know Chris Eubank Jr. well. We saw the press conferences last week. What did you make of what happened?
I know Chris very well. I grew up with him. We went to school together, and he's been in my gym the whole time. And I'm also very close with Conor Benn. He's a good pal of mine. So it's very hard for me to sort of sit back and say this or say that. I think they're doing a fantastic job in selling their fight. I think it's going to be a fantastic fight. They both obviously have the needle with each other, and they're both going to give it everything. So be prepared for war, and I hope they get out of the ring safe.
Meanwhile, Tommy Welch finds himself in a unique dilemma as he tries to stay neutral ahead of the highly anticipated showdown between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. With close ties to both fighters, Welch admits he's caught in the middle. He shares that Benn has been training at his gym, forging a strong personal connection that makes it even harder to pick a side. Despite his friendships with both men, Welch remains objective, giving credit to both fighters for the way they've built up this fight. He acknowledges the undeniable intensity of their rivalry, with tensions running high and emotions threatening to boil over. To Welch, this isn't just another bout, it's a full-scale war. Both Eubank Jr. and Benn are stepping into the ring with everything on the line, each determined to prove they belong at the top. But beyond the competition, Welch has one sincere hope: that both fighters walk away from this battle unscathed, no matter the outcome. This isn't just another fight. It's shaping up to be one of the most explosive and eagerly awaited clashes in recent memory. Who do you think will emerge victorious? Drop your predictions below.